Imagine a world where justice is a dangerous game, and the players are willing to risk everything. This is the story of Judge John Wood, a man who stood against the tide of crime and paid the ultimate price. It was a sunny Tuesday morning, May 29, 1979, when Judge John H. Wood Jr. stepped out of his townhouse, ready to face another day in the courtroom. San Antonio was a city gripped by fear, with violence escalating and drug dealers waging war on each other. The streets were a battleground, and the news was filled with tales of bloodshed. Judge Wood was no stranger to danger. He had seen his fair share of crime, but nothing shocked him more than the attempted assassination of his friend, federal prosecutor James Kerr. Wood was determined to bring justice to the drug dealers he believed were tearing society apart. He had a reputation for handing down harsh sentences, earning him the nickname Maximum John. But his tough stance made him enemies, and his friends warned him that his life was in danger. Wood, however, refused to be intimidated. On that fateful morning, as Wood walked to his car, a shot rang out. His neighbor, James Spears, heard what sounded like a backfire and saw Wood collapse. The judge was dead, killed by a single bullet from a high-velocity rifle. The killer vanished into the morning traffic, leaving behind a city in shock. The investigation into Wood's murder was one of the most intensive and costly in history, with $100,000 offered for information leading to the killer. The trail led to Jimmy Chagra, a high-rolling drug dealer with a grudge against Wood. Chagra's life was a roller coaster of crime, gambling, and betrayal. Chagra had once been a successful smuggler, but a series of setbacks left him desperate. He turned to Henry Wallace, a notorious smuggler, for help. Wallace and Chagra formed a partnership, smuggling cocaine and marijuana from Colombia. But their operation was fraught with danger and deceit. Chagra's greed and recklessness led to the downfall of their operation. Wallace, furious with Chagra, plotted to cut him out of the business. In the midst of this chaos, Chagra's brother Lee was murdered, a crime that nearly drove Jimmy insane. He blamed Judge Wood for Lee's death and vowed revenge. In a twist of fate, Chagra met Charles Harrelson, a convicted hitman, at a poker game in Las Vegas. In a brief conversation, they planned Wood's assassination. On May 29, 1979, as Chagra played cards, he heard the news that Wood was dead. It wasn't supposed to happen that way, but the deed was done. The trial of Jimmy Chagra was a spectacle, with Henry Wallace testifying against him. The jury was captivated by tales of smuggling and betrayal. Chagra's defense was weak, and his own testimony was a disaster. He came across as arrogant and untrustworthy, sealing his fate. The jury found Chagra guilty, and he was sentenced to 30 years without parole. But the story didn't end there. Chagra's brother Joe was also implicated in the conspiracy. He had been drawn into the web of crime, unable to escape his family's legacy. Joe's life spiraled out of control, fueled by cocaine and the pressure of living up to his brother's reputations. He became a target in the investigation. Charles Harrelson, the hitman, was eventually captured. His arrest led to more revelations about the conspiracy to kill Judge Wood. Harrelson's wife, Joanne, was found guilty of purchasing the murder weapon under a false name. The net was closing in on the conspirators. The FBI's investigation was relentless, uncovering a tangled web of lies, bribes, and betrayals. The cost was staggering, but the truth was finally coming to light. In April 1982, indictments were handed down against Jimmy, Joe, and Liz Chagra, as well as Charles and Joanne Harrelson. The trial was set for September. The story of Judge John Wood's murder is a tale of crime, corruption, and the relentless pursuit of justice. It is a reminder that even in the darkest times, the truth will eventually prevail. As the trial approaches, the world watches, waiting to see if justice will be served for the man who dared to stand against the tide of crime. The legacy of Judge John Wood lives on, a symbol of courage and determination in the face of overwhelming odds. This is a story of power, greed, and the lengths to which people will go to protect their secrets. It is a story that will be remembered for generations. Stay tuned as we continue to uncover the truth behind one of the most shocking crimes in American history. Don't miss the next chapter in this gripping tale of justice and retribution. Subscribe now for more stories that reveal the hidden truths behind the headlines. Because sometimes, the truth is stranger than fiction.